Welcome. Greetings to all of you. And I do hope that you're having a wonderful evening right now. What I'm checking here, I see Facebook is something is popping up. Something is popping up here. Thank you. Greetings to Annie and Rawati, Bibi Ishak, Sandra, Tracy Gilbert, and yes, just be patient. I'm trying to get something here fixed. Yes. This is some technical stuff they're asking me to set here. I have no idea. No idea what they're talking about here. But nonetheless, let's see how this light goes. If you're getting my audio crystal clear, can you let me know in the comments? Let me know in the comments if you're getting my audio crystal clear. Are you getting my audio? Are you hearing me well? Let me know in the comments. Send me a note. Yeah. Loud and clear. This is what these are the merits of the PPP. The enhancement that you are noticing are the merits of the PPP followers. You don't have to ask, they deliver. This is the awesomeness of that crowd. You don't have to ask, they deliver. And I'm honored to have such loyal, progressive, awesome, and dynamic. The party of the people that understand that the impact my voice can make can shape the political landscape for Guyana. We have a lot at stake for the upcoming elections. A lot at stake. We need to understand the risks that are there. We need to understand the past and do everything possible not to repeat the mistakes we made, the voting population of Guyana has made 2015. We have to understand that such instances, such sacrifices, we are not willing to make ever again. While it may seem that most of us are marginalized, while it may seem that most of us are set aside, are invisible, are suppressed, no one recognizes that we still exist. The universe is there The universe has a plan. I do not like to tell people that Rome wasn't built in a day. I do not like to add to the frustration, to add to the loss of hope, to add to the dreams dying, to add to people not willing to wake up just because being asleep brings them peace and happiness that being awake does not afford them. Because at the end of the day, why would you be excited? Why would anyone be excited to pursue dreams when that cloud nine is not within their reach? Why would anyone want to go through the pain, the agony, the frustration to complete their schooling when upon graduation, the prospect of practicing their theory, the prospect of them having an opportunity to realize their full potential after being molded academically, that prospect is not within their reach. This is why you have a lot of people who just drop out of school. They shatter their own ambition simply because the trust that they have built in themselves, the confidence that they have assured themselves, have not given them that self drive, that motivation for when they look out, when they look to the government, they see a wall. They are treated as aliens to a country, to a future, to an economy that they, by birthright, has a right to. They give up. They cancel their dreams. They get high on coffee simply because they don't want to go to sleep. Because going to sleep is synonymous with dreaming. And they don't want to dream anymore. Because dreaming adds to their depression. The Guyanese people who are ambitious, the Guyanese people who have made their plans, who stuck to that path, who embraced that childhood's fantasy and believed that their leader or leaders share their sentiment. They built their hope on the campaign promises that all politicians extend, share, indoctrinate in their potential voters. They believe in that. They hook the fulfillment of their destiny and dreams on the promises that were made to them. But in that space of time, when those very Guyanese would have contributed towards the average political candidate contesting an election, contributed to that person achieving their dreams in getting into the parliament, possibly becoming a government minister, most ultimately, the president of the country. It is the Guyanese voters who share dreams of living their best life, who share the ambition of wanting what's best for them and their family, just like a presidential candidate, just like the persons on the list of candidates that are going for a political party. Dreams are similar. But what is unfair What is unfair and continues to be unfair is that only a few, whenever an election comes around, only a few, a handful, you can count them on your fingers, only a few benefits from the sacrifice. Only a few. The people who makes the most investment, and I'm not talking about sponsorship investment. I'm talking about time, emotions, hopes, dreams, faith. The people who makes the most, who deposit the most out of self towards that cause are the Guyanese voters, the third class citizens in Guyana. Third class. They're the ones who makes the most sacrifice. And as always, they're the ones who suffer the greatest loss. They have made that sacrifice to help. And I'm talking now about the current government. You see, if I use my time and my energy to dwell on the actions of the PNC and the actions of the Burnham regime, the whole world knows about that. The records are there. From time to time, of course, I will remind you, jog your memory, lest you forget. But when it comes to elections, we must judge the candidates in the present tense. We should not allow the ills, the mistakes, the purposeful acts that occurred under the Granger government to cause us to be sympathetic towards the current Ali government. No, that shouldn't happen. I'm here to tell you that should not happen. We cannot excuse President Ali and the current government of the wrongs that they may have committed against the Guyanese people just because the PNC may have done worse. They're not excused. You're not excused because of the other person's sin. You are accountable for your actions as a government. The actions of the PNC in the past 5 years, 2015, 2020, they suffered for that at the elections of 2020. They faced the consequences for their stupidity, for their discrimination, for their racism, for the way they have punished the people. They suffered 2020. And as a result of the way they treated the Guyanese public, the way they dealt with the Guyanese public, as a result of their actions towards their own citizens, the Guyanese people came together and taught them a lesson. No more. The Guyanese came together and taught them a lesson. No more. You got a chance because of the nonsense of the PNC, President Ali, you got a chance. People wanted no more. No more pain, no more cries, no more suffering, no more insecurity, no more lawlessness, no more discrimination, no more prejudice, no more loss of jobs, no more renting houses for the rest of your life, no more long lines at the insurance company, no more bribery to get land, no more bribery to get your NIS, your insurance, no more bribery to get your pension, no more sacrificing a man's wife just to get favors from a ministry that should give the favors because they are paid for that. Guyanese wanted no more of that. So what happens? What happened from that disgust that the Guyanese citizens had? What happened? They voted the problem away. They voted the problem away. Those who would have voted for the PNC, they enjoyed being punished. They like the stress. They're happy in misery. So they would vote for the PNC forever. They don't mind. But the ones who voted for you, President Ali, and the PPP, they vote that because on the promise of your manifesto, they stood. The promise of your manifesto, they stood. There are things that can be done by mass distribution. There are things that can be done because of the process of time. But what has happened during the 5 years of your presidency? Let's examine that. Because I have to help to convince people that you deserve a second chance. I have to help. And I've been trying for a while now. But now I have to step it up. I have to step it up so that you and your officers has the opportunity to address directly the issues that the Guyanese, the third class, I'm not talking about the middle class, the working class, the professional class. I'm not talking about that. And I'm definitely not talking about your friends. Your family is not that large, but your friends. I am not talking about the officers in the executive branch of the PPP. I'm not talking about the sponsors of the PPP. I am least interested in that group. Least interested. I am talking about the third class. You see, the PNC treated the Guyanese as a lower class. Lower. You see, lower is a step below third class. The PNC treated as lower class. That is why they've lost. That is why nobody pays attention to them than their crowd that enjoys poverty. You came into government and all the grants you're giving out, it is admirable. Okay? Generous. But what you have managed to do, President Ali, you brought the Guyanese from lower class to third class. You understand? You brought them from C minus to C. Barnum had the Guyanese at F. F. The PNCR, with their coalition APNU 2015-2020, had the Guyanese at C minus. And these are human beings we're talking about here. Human beings. You brought them to C. I can tell you what. Let me tell you what C class is. in case the folks around you can't explain it properly. President Ali, let me tell you what C class is. C class is somebody who buys, and let me finish my statement. Don't go judging me before that. Let me complete my sentence, rather statement. C class is somebody who goes to a dealer and buys a used car from Japan, and it comes to Guyana, and they're the first person who takes the car off the lot. Then they drive that car for 5 years. After that, they sell it to somebody else for half the price. This is now three hands it passed down. The car lot, then the first person to drive it in Guyana, then after 5 years, they sell it to somebody else who considered it a second hand, but it's a third hand vehicle with a few mileage left on it. That person who buys it, after the 5 years of the one before that drove it and did all kinds of stuff and cleaned it up a bit and sells it for half the price. That person now gives it a spray job and drives it for another 5 years. By that time, it's good for nothing. But they understood that they bought a used car, so they took their time and they gave it their to-date maintenance and things like that. And after 5 years, they had a chance to recover their investment. Now they're ready to get rid of it. The car spent 10 years as a used car from Japan in the hands of a Guyanese twice. Now it's being sold to whoever. And they sell that car for $1,000 for half the price that they bought it for. The person who goes now and buys that car, that person is a third-class citizen. That person. You understand now? Third-class citizen. And if after he buys that vehicle and in reinvesting it to present it, and he used it after a while and realized so many problems, engine problems, this problem, that problem. He just put it out there and said, give me an offer. And some desperate soul comes around and say, I'll give you $500. And the desperate soul thinks he got a deal. He thinks he got a deal, but he has no idea what the car went through for 10 plus 2 years, 12 years. Now he got the car and thinks he's lucky. So that person now who got the car for $500, that's what you call lower class. The lower class, the class below third class. Let's be critical here. I'm talking to President Ali. I'm talking to him. Let's be practical here. The only way you will call your neighbor after going through something like that, the neighbor has seen what this car went through. You have to think very low of that neighbor, to call that neighbor and tell him, I have this car to sell. I think you'll be interested. And you expect him to be happy about it and think you are a nice person. Any neighbor in their right sense would end the friendship with you, accuse you of being disrespectful, and want nothing more to do with you. Why? Because the neighbor will think you see them like a JA, like they're so poverty stricken, they need handouts. If that is the condition of the neighbor, well, but if the neighbor is a regular citizen that has a job and does his best to provide for his family, and you come telling him that you want him to borrow money or invest in a vehicle that passed through four hands, that is disrespectful. What I have seen, what I have seen happened to the Guyanese from 2020 to 2025, what I have seen happen, the services I have observed, the complaints I have received, the talking points I have listened to and followed, what I've seen happen in that space of time, it is only a step up from the PNC position. PNC was lower class, selling the car for 500, and your government, President Ali, is selling the car for 1,000. Both position is an insult to the Guyanese people. Insult. They didn't settle for that. That was not a part of their vote. They didn't bargain for that. They bargained, the Guyanese bargained to go to the car lot and be the first to drive the car off the lot in Guyana. They don't want to be the third hand owner, the fourth hand owner, and definitely not the guy who gets it for $500. No, 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 no. This is why throughout the regime, people kept complaining. People are willing to spread propaganda. They are willing to create fake news. They are willing to incite racism because there is no other way they can deal with the disappointment that keeps coming from politicians. People are fed up of that. They are exhausted. Security is a mess. It was terrible in the PNC regime. It is terrible in the PPP regime. What is so bad? What is so difficult that none of your governments can take control of the security problem in Guyana? What is so wrong? What is preventing you from addressing crime, punishing criminals the way they should be punished? What is stopping you from doing that? PNC was the same thing. What is stopping you from reforming their judicial system, from getting rid of corrupt judges and magistrates? What is stopping you from doing that? It's the same in the PNC camp. During the 5 years of the PNC, it was as worse as it is now. Do you guys have a similar policy? Do you exchange talking points? Did you come to polish the policies of the PNC, but continue it? Why is it that Guyanese still have to cry out about their safety? Why is it that they're treated as third-class citizens, that their safety and their lives don't matter? That's how you treat slaves. That's how you treat the lowest of the low. They don't matter.
They walk the street, you pass with your car, it's raining, you drive in the water, and you spill the water on their clothing. You don't give a darn. They don't matter. That's how you treat third class citizens. Do you think people voted for politicians because of that? You think that's what they want? Do you think that's what they expect? Do you think a woman is going to leave her abusive, drunken husband that beats her up every day, that abuses her verbally every day? You think she's going to leave him to go to another one that not only beats her or drinks alcohol, but uses drugs, has friends over, and he's never home? Why would she do that? If she leaves a man who is abusive, who's drunken, who's all of that, if she leaves such a man, it's either to stay alone and live her life because she's better off alone, or she got an angel. An angel. Nobody leaves worst for better worse. You see, better worse is worse than the worst. People have crossed politicians. Let me digress. Those politicians that left the AFC and the PNC to come to the PPP, if they are so ambitious that they have benefited from all of the luxuries, the duty-free this, the free housing, access to land, access to business, access to loans, they cut all the red threads while they were opposition operatives in the parliament. They enjoyed all of that and still believed and thought they deserved more. More. And the average citizen that voted for these people can't even go to the car center and buy a car to drive it first in the country. What is so different than these PNC people that crossed over as against your voters, President Ali? What's so different? Oh, these politicians in the parliament, all these politicians who are now starting their own political parties, they're upper class. So only the upper class know their value. They all think they deserve to be president. They deserve to be ministers. Because their mentality, their state of mind is that they are not lower class. They're the upper class. How do you think your voters feel? Those people who crossed over from the PNC didn't vote for you. They didn't vote for you, President Ali. They voted for the AFC. They served for 5 years the AFC. They enjoyed taxpayers' money from your voters. Yet they think and they acted on that belief that they deserve better. They want more. So they're going to suck up to the current power structure because the current power structure, it seems like they will retain that power structure. Therefore, they're hanging their mouth so the soup can fall inside. How do you think that group of Guyanese that voted for you, that you brought from lower class to third class, how do you think they feel that they don't have that access, They may never enjoy that freedom like those ditches, ditchers are experiencing. And you welcome them with open arms. But the average Guyanese, the third class, I have to keep stressing third class so you understand. So you understand what the government's policy, programs, and practices are seeing the Guyanese as. How do you think they feel? That you have that grandfather and grandmother who weathered the storm, went out elections day 2020, despite the pain in their knees, despite their diabetes, despite their cancer, despite being blind, despite being handicapped, they braved nature, went out and voted for you, despite the fact that hundreds of them, thousands of them have waited. As of 2020, they would have waited years for their pensions to be processed. Their children have the burden of having to carry their parents and their grandparents while at the same time their own family, because their parents and grandparents are waiting for their old age pension and benefit to be processed. They've been waiting since 2015. For all the 5 years, they've been sidelined because why? The PNC would have seen them like, liability. We can't benefit from them. They'll die soon. But your promise on your manifesto reignite their hope. So they went out and they voted for you. They voted for the PPP. They were lower class. As of 2015, as of now, a lot of those people, thousands of those people, President Ali, are still waiting for their pension. 5 years of the PNC, 4 years of the PPP. Together, how many years? 9 years. And they are still waiting to get their pension processed. They may have gotten the 100,000. That was a quick fix. It's done, isn't it? It's done. 1 week, finished. But they're still waiting on their pension. You think those people are the third class? No, they're still stuck in the lower class that they have endured from the PNC. They have not moved up. Even one class. They have not. And now you think they are concerned about the roads you built? You think they're concerned about the Irfan Ali River Bridge? You think they're concerned about all these magical infrastructure? They don't give a darn. They're not concerned about that. They're concerned that at the end of the month, they can pay their bills. Seniors. They're concerned that they do not have to burden their children because their children have their own responsibility. They don't want any of that. All they want is their pension. their old age pension, their retirement pension. They want to enjoy retirement and just be happy. The stress of waiting for the pension to be processed is increasing the possibilities of earlier death. Then if that happens, what's the point? What's the point of voting for you when they could not live to enjoy their pension? What's the point? These are not things that you haven't heard because it doesn't make the headlines. What makes the headlines is nonsense. What makes the headlines is issues like Rickford Burke, case dismissed from liable suit. Who's interested in that? Who is interested in that? That's what makes the news headlines. What makes the news headlines? Amanza Walter Desir started her own party. Who is interested in that? What makes the headlines? Crime, criminals, infighting with PNC. That is what makes the headlines. You think those people who are hungry, who can't get their pension, who are worried about their security, you think they are concerned about that? They're not concerned about that. You are only frustrating them more. When they're seeing this and their issues are not addressed, you think they're concerned about all the pictures that have been posted? You think they're concerned about seeing the president at some site to commission a new hotel with his friends? You think they're concerned about that? They're not going to go to the hotel. They may never visit. They have their homes. They are not interested in that, President. They are concerned that they voted for you to fix their pension issue. They voted for you to solve the problems with crime. They voted for you to bring equality and equity. That's not the case. That's not the case. This caste system continues to prolong in every government. Continues to prolong. All these hospitals that are built all over the country, is the service free? Are the prescription free? Is it? When you build these state-of-the-art hospitals, what kind of service a pensioner can expect? They don't have a pension. They're not getting their pension. Somebody has to pay the bill. Is it free? Do they have a medical card that for whatever condition they have free medical service? Not just checkups. The card can cover them whatever the case is. They don't have to go into their pockets or have somebody pay for it. No, it's free. Is it? Or these third-class citizens have to pay the same fee like the first-class citizen at the hospitals around the country? Is that the case? These third-class citizens has to pay the same electricity rate, the same water rate, like the millionaires and billionaires and your friends. What are we talking about here? If that is the case, do you think that's what they voted for? Answer that question. They did not vote for that, would they? Did they? I am trying to, and I'm repeating the issue of pension because the folks that has applied for their pension, the old age pension, those are the folks that will have endured. They would have endured the hardship of the Barnum era, the Hoyt era. They endured that. They lived through it. They struggled. They worked hard through it all. Only to now sustain their life where they can say, breathe a sigh of relief, that they have a good government who recognize their struggle. Only for that. But instead, they contributed towards the country's development and they struggled while they did it. They've reached the life age where it's physically impossible for them to compete at that level that they did back in the day. And now for them to relax and allow their bodies to, slow down aging. They have to still think about doing some security work at age 70, doing some nanny work at age 80, selling something on the roadside at 90 because they don't have pension, because they can't get pension. And this whole idea about the government sponsoring, paying for contributions for persons who have not paid enough contribution, I think is a bunch of crap. I think it's nonsense. Enough with the contribution stuff. Enough of that. Not everybody in Guyana would have had the opportunity to secure a job. That from that job, their taxes were extracted. Not everybody. Not everybody would have had the know-how and the chance to self-contribute towards the insurance scheme. Not everybody. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of Guyanese who have no idea as to how these things work. None whatsoever. So a lot of them didn't even thought of going to apply for pension because to them, they were never in the system. So they have to keep hustling. They have to keep hustling, doing some side job, even though that grandmother can't walk because of her age and ailment. In her mind, she never worked for the government. She never worked for a company that paid that towards the system. She always hustled. Why should she even go and try to? It's hopeless. That should not be the case. Your government made promises. The first thing you should have done, and I'm saying should have done, because you still have time to correct it. All it takes is a change of legislation. A change of legislation, and all of that is changed automatically. It's changed. That every Guyanese, it's a computerized system, okay? You have no paperwork. Computerized. Every Guyanese, naturalization, birth, whatever. I'll pause here. I'll pause. Let me pause. Allow me. Allow me. Look at the voting. What do they say? If you are from a Commonwealth country and you reside in Guyana for more than a year, you don't have to be born there. Your parents don't have to be from there. None of that. If you came from a country within the Commonwealth and you live in Guyana for more than a year, you are eligible to vote. So voting, that privilege and power, is not for someone who were born in one of the hospitals in Guyana registered birth in Guyana, a citizen by birth. No, that privilege is not for them only, but anybody. As long as you live more than a year, register, you got some ID card, whatever, you can vote. It's that simple. That simple. That power. That simple. Because voting is free. It doesn't cost the government nothing to get voters to go vote for some party. They go there freely. However, they are seduced, but they go there. They use their own transportation. They time, they stand in line for hours. They brave risk their security to vote for whoever, but they go because it's free. Now tell me something. Why then? Why then? A citizen born in Guyana, registered birth in Guyana, lived in Guyana, contributed to the economy, however they have, but they are Guyanese citizen by birth. Why can't, when they reach the age where they're eligible for pension, why can't it be an automatic process that they submit an ID card proving they have reached the age of pension? Why can't it be an automatic process that they are eligible by age for pension? Why? Pension is standard. It's standard. There are no high pension, low pension. It's standard. Every old age person gets the same amount of money from the state. We're not talking about pension from a company that is a percentage of your salary that you used to get. No. This country owes its citizen. So be you a president or a janitor or somebody who may not have been associated with a government agency, there is a standard pension every Guyanese is eligible for. Eligible. When you work for a company and you retire for that company, you would have paid your dues to that company during the time you worked there. They cut your pay in taxes. That's what you get back from the company as pension. They put that system in place so you can benefit something after serving them for all your life. The fact that Guyanese citizen is born in Guyana, they automatically qualify for government pension. They don't have to work anywhere with anyone. By birth, you're qualified. Birth. See my point? So all those people, those thousands of old folks at the Palms, it's devastating. When you go around the places where these old folks are, you see the condition under which they're living. Places like the Palms, they don't have as much as washing machines. If I can right now donate 10 washing machines to the Palms, I'll do it. I would send it. I would do it. And let me reach out now. Let me reach out now to all those Guyanese, wherever you are. Wherever you are, if you are in Guyana and you can go to a store or you have a washing machine that is working, it's a good standard, it's working. and you can afford to buy yourself a new washing machine, donate the one you want to change. Don't go take something that's broken. I would buy new. I would buy new. I would not give you stuff to. But I'm saying now, if you can afford it as a guy, instead of taking your money and buy another smartphone, you already have two. Instead of taking that money to buy another smartphone that you don't need, take the money, go to one of the stores, buy a washing machine, and donate it to the Palms. I am asking you to do that. Donate it to the Palms. If a few of you do that, those folks there will be taken care of. Because guess what happens? When they cannot wash their laundry on time, it accumulates bacteria. Bacteria. It gives out odor, and that attracts rats, insects, roaches, and it interferes with your relatives. Those older folks are human beings. They're people. They serve their country. It's enough that the government have not taken care of them with their pension. I'm exhausted talking about the Minister of Human Services and Social Security. I'm exhausted talking about her. Really. This is how politics and position make them blind and stupid. They forget where they come from. And I don't care, doctor, whatever. Human beings first. Human first. Treat them like people. And it also hurts when the Guyanese, who voted in their hundreds of thousands for you, President Ali, they sit back and they watch how you appoint these pompous, arrogant ministers and directors and whoever they are that are walking in the clouds and looking down and spitting because what they see below are third, lower class citizens. They're forgetting that their might as ministers came as a result of those same low and third class citizens who voted for you, Ali, so that you could be president and then appoint these I can't say it. I want to say it. I really want to say it. I want to call them like it is. I want to say it like it is. I got to worry about all these, oh my gosh, but you understand what I'm talking about. Tell these ministers, President Ali, tell these ministers they are nothing. If they think they are so up there, let them go be lawyers if they're lawyers. Let them go be doctors. Their career, they study for whatever they're doing. Let them go and enjoy their career. But when it comes to being a minister, none of that matters. What matters is them being humbled and understand that those citizens that they see as third class, they have the power. The voters of Guyana, the third class citizens that you didn't bring from third to upper, they have the power. They're the powerhouse. They're the ones who control your future, sir, and the future of all the ministers that are showing off and pomposing, and they're no different than PNC ministers. This is what's disappointing. They're no different. They're as arrogant and as dumb as the PNC ministers. No different. And the people are standing by. I am now empathetic. I have empathy for your critics, President Ali. I'm empathizing with them. I understand what they're faced. This is why they're saying what they're saying. You're not in their shoes. They know that they stood in that line on elections day for hours, their hearts skipping a beat. They're nervous, looking around them to see who's going to come to threaten them. They just want to go in quickly, vote, and get out. And now, for all these years, to sit back and see your friends and these arrogant, pompous, idiot ministers enjoying the big life and thinking that they're gods, while the real gods who made you president are sitting there and saying, please God, let them process my pension. Please God, let nobody attack me on the road. Please God, let... Elections are coming up. I am done painting a good picture about the PPP. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. Because I'm looking like a hypocrite when I do that. Because the PPP supporters, they're crying, they're bleeding, they're depressed, they're anxious. So when I say things that glorifies you, they're upset with me. They're telling me, hey, Doc, we understand that you support. Yes, I don't want the country to go back to the PNC. No way. Hell to the no. Mm-mm. And because I don't want that to happen, I need to call out these ills so that you can try your best to at least stop the talking and put systems in place so that the people who have been waiting forever can receive the services that are due them. Okay? Put systems in place. In 5 years, all you hear is talk, talk, talk. Make sugar make sugar great again. What kind of bullshit is that? Make sugar great again? Since when sugar was not great? Since when? Everything we consume has sugar in it. That's how great sugar is. Sugar is in everything we consume. That's how great sugar is. You don't have to make it great. What you need to make great are those sugar workers who suffered during the PNC years, who didn't get their pension process, who had to live on what? Side hustle, one meal a day, the same thing every day, who couldn't pay their health bill, who were kicked out of their homes because they couldn't pay a rent, whose land the bushes took over because they can't even buy a sack of cement. Those people's lives you need to make great. Not the estate. The estate is not operated by robots, human beings. Make the lives of the sugarcane workers great. Make the lives of the pensioners great. Make the lives of the children of Guyana great. By making their parents' lives great, the children enjoy that luxury. You don't make industry great. You make people great because they made you great. The world is seeing this great president because people voted for you. When you were minister of housing and water, you became minister because people voted for the PPP. People did. Now you're president. People made you president. People did. Your base. Those people who have issues with their land, they're not getting their land processed. Those people who had a lot of land taken back, the people who still don't have their pension, the people who have applied for housing decades ago, those groups of people, they made you great. not not the PPP. The people who support the PPP made you great. Their lives are not great. You make their lives great. Make their lives great. Then you're making sense. Otherwise, to that, all these hustlers who started political parties, who are making promises, just like you did in 2020, they're making promises. They are going to get the attention of those older folks who haven't received their pension, of those persons who dropped out of school, of those people who can't pay their rent. They would get the attention of those people. Who is going to lose? You. Because the friends of the government that are enjoying the sweet, they're a small majority. Very small, tiny, tiny. Their vote don't matter. Nobody cares about their votes. They don't even stand in the line because they're too big to that. No, they want a special entrance. Move aside, the minister's coming. Yeah, I must emphasize. Start now. Start now. Look after your base. Look after your base. Otherwise, you may not have a second term. I want to thank you for your time. I will try to be on time with the program. My position here is to guarantee the future and the success of Guyana and Guyanese, the security of Guyanese, and to make sure that those who matter, who hold the rein to make certain things possible, that they make those things possible. I'm not interested in politicians. I'm not. I am interested in making sure that the Guyanese never, ever have to find a place as a third-class citizen. If Guyana is now recognized as a second world country, its citizens must be all middle class, all the citizens, middle class. If for whatever reason they can't achieve middle class status, it is the government's responsibility to go and investigate why and put programs in place to help them to get there. And the most important ministry is the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. And Minister Prasad, you should be fired. Do the decent thing and just resign. Yes, 2 months before elections, just quit. Quit. Let the president himself do it. Pay out the pension. Give all them old people their pension. Change the system. Change the law. If you reach the age of, what's the age of pension? What's the pension age? 60 something. If you reach age 60 something and you have your national ID, your birth certificate, you find one, then automatically you should get your pension. Not about how much contributions you make. You've made contributions all your life to the country. That's important. You reach age whatever, 65. Thank you, Lauren, 65. Serena Holland, thank you. When you reach age 65, that is the contribution you need. You should be age 65. Change the law. All Guyanese should qualify for pension at age 65. No contributions necessary. And process it within a week. Within 1 week. We have the line, we deal with online stuff, right? You could register to vote online. You could register for a house online, but you can't register for your pension online. They shouldn't be going there standing in line. You know, you have a lot of idiots working for the NIS that discriminates against the old folks. No, let their children help them and register online. They are approved online. So all they do, they go to the bank or wherever and they can cash their pension every month. Do that. Do that. Get it over with. That's one hurdle that is over with. So every Guyanese know when they reach the age of 65, they just register and they're eligible for their pension. But why age 65? Why age 65? Why? You have any idea how long you have to live to reach 65? Why 65? Why not 60 or 55? Why not? I say 55. 55. People should be eligible for their pension at age 55. You are a sovereign nation. Change the laws. Age 55, pension. I'm going to stick to that. Let me make a note of it. Yeah. I have to give myself a tap on the shoulder. I'm a genius. I came up with that idea all by myself. Can you imagine that? Hold a second. Age 55, eligible for good. Every Guyanese should be eligible for old age pension from age 55. I'm sticking to that. You reach the age of 55, sign up, provide the proof, and you automatically in the system. You show up at any bank or wherever, and you can have that dispersed to your account. Age 55. That's it. We'll continue again on the next live. Well, at 5. This is Dr. Love Prasad saying, thank you. I'm going to share this later on YouTube for the persons who would have been accustomed to the live there. Yes. Thank you. Somebody says state pension is 55 years. What country is that? What country is the pension at age 55? State pension. What country? We get NIS at age 60, but the same should apply for old age. Okay. Thanks for the info. But the country's pension should be at age 55. Age 55 should have the countries. You should be eligible for that at age 55. Old age pension, that is. At age 55. Guyana doesn't accept voluntary work. Change the laws. Everything is possible. All you need, you can change the law. You have the law that makes it easy for people to from other countries to come and vote after 1 year. How long is that law there? Since whenever? Since the beginning. But you structure some laws to pressure the people who were born there? Really? I'll see you again next time. Thank you.